Hello, I'm Valentina Popescu from VP Languages, an official OET preparation provider. Today we're going to discuss a bit about OET speaking and the tasks. And actually, this is more of a vocabulary lesson. So what I encourage students to do is try to avoid using the words they have on the card. Because if you just use those words, then you don't show off your level of language and you don't show that you have a wide range of vocabulary. So what should you do? First of all, learn synonyms for the verbs that you have on the card. Now, let's see some examples. For example, if you have find out what the patient knows, you could say, can I just ask Mr. Smith, how much do you know about? I don't know much. It's usually the answer. Now, if you have explain, you could say, I'd like to give you more information about, or go with you through the steps, go with you through the process, take you through the process, and so on and so forth. Emphasize, underline, or stress. These are synonyms. Stress the importance. It's really important to, it's essential, it's vital. Now, I actually tell students also to try and avoid one of the examples I've actually given earlier. I'd like to tell you more, or I'd like to. This is the part which I'd like you to really reconsider when organizing your OET speaking, when you're structuring your speaking. So most of the time, when you have to explain, to give more information, to make suggestions, and so on and so forth, it's not you introducing these ideas. It's actually the patient. So most of the time you should ask the patient, have you got any other questions for me, or have you got any questions for me? And the patient's going to say, oh yes, nurse, can you please explain me the process of blah, 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 blah. And in this case, you're going to say, oh yes, let me give you just a bit more details, or oh yes, and you can directly start and explain the process. But there are many cases where you could actually say, now I'd like to give you more information about. Now I'd like to explain to you about. Now, this is something that doesn't usually happen, okay? So try to be as natural as possible. Suggest. You could say, I'd like to give you some recommendations, make some suggestions, and we have a separate tip video on making suggestions. But again, try to use synonyms and try to pay attention to what the patient's saying and try to sound as natural as possible and answer the patient's question. Now, this is also something really important. Sometimes the patient sometimes patients ask questions. So most of the time, especially when you start out and you're just preparing, you might ignore the question and just look at the card and at the task that you have to do. Don't do that, okay? The first thing you have to do is answer the patient's questions and then go back to the card and see what you have to do next. So always pay attention to the patient and answer their question first. Check many times if the patient has more questions or more concerns, and try to avoid the now I'd like to. Usually it doesn't work like that. The patient might ask you to explain, might ask you for suggestions, might ask you for advice, and you have to sound natural and just give the advice, make the suggestion, explain the procedure. Try to avoid the words explain, as I was saying earlier, and all the other verbs that you have on the card. Try to come up with synonyms. So that's our tip for today. Hello, and thank you for watching this video. I'm Valentina Popescu and I'm an official OET preparation provider. I run VP Modern Foreign Languages here in the UK, and we have a special program dedicated to overseas nurses, which is called Be a Nurse. Now, besides this program, we have a free Facebook support group. We have our students support group. We have a membership academy where monthly you get access to loads of materials, videos and articles to help you get prepared. And we also run challenges. In May and October, we run the OET Writing Challenge, and in June and November, we run the OET Speaking Challenge. You spend 4 weeks with me. You can even have one-to-one sessions with me, and you can get to ask me anything. We go through all the techniques and tips and tricks to help you succeed this time, because we do have 100% success rate in writing, in speaking, in the exam. So if you want to learn more about us, just visit vplanguages.com or check us out on Facebook. Hope to talk to you soon, and thank you again for taking the time to watch this video.